Good morning. I started and I realized I hadn't done my audio check. And so I had to quick rush to do it. Oh boy, and it probably did change to 4:45. I don't know. I didn't see the exact time when it started. Anyway, again, good morning. The title for today is Bringing Resolution is the Most Important Thing Happening Now. And I wrote the blurb, most of us have been riding an emotional roller coaster for the past couple years or more. We have watched as promises to address problems failed to materialize, as remedies we applied and our demand for justice were ignored. Something is shifting, or at least it feels that way to me. There are powers at work, mostly invisible at present, that seem to be shifting this travesty. Whatever the challenge may be for you, I'd like to encourage you to keep the faith. Resolution of these issues is being addressed in powerful places. Know that all with a pure heart will prevail, and the meek will inhabit the earth. I see a couple of mistakes I made here. I've got to delete some things here. Okay. There. I fixed it. That way I won't have the blurb incorrect in the thing that I didn't notice when I typed it. And the love line last night with Margie and my friends, the sense that I had a lot was the sense of fulfillment. Maybe I was projecting that on others, but for me, I've been having a greater sense of fulfillment and of reaching resolution on some of these issues that have been dragging out for so long. And finally getting it to the place where there's going to be, as I said, resolution. There's going to be some finality, I believe, to the issue with my house. And that's been my big issue. And then, of course, the arrest thing, that will come too. But there's resolution happening, and fulfillment is not far away once the resolution comes. And as I get emails and get phone calls from people all over the world, really, sometimes it brings tears to my eyes, some of the things people are going through, people losing their homes, people with major, major health challenges, people with relationships breaking apart. And we've been on this emotional roller coaster. Actually, all human lives for a long time have been on that roller coaster. It's pretty hard to ignore when we're on this planet. It's hard sometimes to find the meaning to all the confusion, to all the chaos, to all the things that seem so unfair, so unjust. It's really hard. Often it's very hard to be able to maintain a positive frame of mind, a focus on what we want instead of being caught up in the things that we don't want. It's really difficult. And one of the things that I've done my best to do over the past, since January last year, it's been what? It's been over a year and a half now that I've been doing these daily videos. And one of the things that I've wanted to portray to everyone is the reality of life. So often you hear preachers or motivational speakers, they're always upbeat. They're always on top of the mountain, or at least that's the impression they try to leave people. That we should not ever feel negative feelings. We should not ever feel angry or sad or hurt or frustrated. We shouldn't feel anxiety and fear because we've been well trained that if we fear, we're not in love. and all sorts of other New Age nonsense of separation, trying to separate us from our real feelings, from trying to separate us from owning what's really going on in our lives, what's really happening. And I think that does great damage to the soul and to the spirit of man when we're not allowed to tell the truth, when we're not allowed to feel what we actually do feel, when we have to stuff our feelings and push them down as if they're not happening. And I've done my best over this past year and a half to portray life as it really is. Because on this planet, we feel good feelings and bad feelings. We feel hope and we feel despair. We feel that we're supported and we feel total lack of support sometimes. You've heard me. You've heard me when I've been in fear. When I've cried out, "Why don't you help me? Why don't you stand with me? I need somebody to stand with me." And it felt like my cries were falling on deaf ears, even among my friends. But I've had a sense in the past while that something is going on, not just with me, but with everyone. We're watching as scandals are being brought into the open all over the world. Scandals involving religion, especially the Catholic Church and the Vatican, of its criminal behavior, of its corruption. Scandals in the banking industry worldwide. Scandals in corporations. Scandals in healthcare. Scandals in what the government is doing and trying to do, which will fail. But there's scandals everywhere, and we know about it. Folks, we're nearing resolution. When these things become known, when these things are accepted as something that we have created, something that we have to take responsibility for in our lives, collectively and individually, we have to take responsibility. We have to see things for what they are in the reality of whether you want to call it an illusion or not. It nevertheless is the life experience that we're going through. It's our experience, individually and collectively. These things have been happening to us to awaken us. I sincerely believe that all of the bad has a purpose of accelerating the focus and the purpose for this journey into three-dimensional reality. Again, you can call it an illusion if you want, but it's real experience nevertheless. People really do get sick and die and really do hurt each other, really do fall in love, really do experience joy, really do experience pain. It's all real, folks. It's all real experience. Whether we are solid or not, doesn't really matter, does it? It seems solid, and it's our experience of solidity. Even if quantum physics tells us that there's more empty space than there is solid matter, and that solid matter may itself be nothing but an illusion. So what? It's our experience. And we're bringing some kind of resolution to that experience. Some kind of finality, some kind of climax is coming. Can't you feel it? I certainly can. Oh, I know there's been a lot of naysayers and there's been a lot of cynics and critics, and they will always exist probably until they don't. And I understand, because sometimes I'm one of the cynics. Sometimes I'm one of the critics. It's all in me. I can't perceive it out there if I don't have a point of reference within my own experience. I can only see something that I'm familiar with. But what we're not familiar with is where we're going. The future is literally pulling us forward and leading us down a path that will bring final resolution to this whole issue of this journey into the far country as prodigal sons and daughters of our Creator, Father and Mother God. We're coming home. I have that sense. I have that sense that my home is secure. I shared yesterday, or the day before, whenever it was, about receiving the information about the land patent that I have on my property. I also shared that I had made arrangements to attend the hearing, the evidentiary hearing today by telephone. However, I've obtained a ride and I am actually going to go in person and present the land patent as evidence in the bankruptcy court today. I'm so appreciative that this has been able to be worked out, and I have a feeling that that's going to be the end of all this battle. Once I present the land patent, I think it's all but over for the PNC Bank and for the lawyers that have been trying to steal my property, the lawyer that has been trying to steal my property for many years now. I have a feeling that resolution is happening. And I'm excited about that. Oh yeah, there's still some apprehension. You see, feelings are not ever, for me, just good or bad, because there's always both. This is an experience of duality. And there's nothing wrong with the experience of duality. We get to examine the entire breadth of what is possible, even creating the illusions and having them experienced as real. It's an amazing gift we've been given. It's not a curse. Sometimes it feels like a curse, doesn't it? But it's not a curse. It's a gift. And we're rising up from our own ashes as a phoenix rises from its ashes. We're going through metamorphosis as a caterpillar changes into a butterfly or a tadpole into a frog. We're going through significant changes. We don't know exactly how everything is going to fall out and come together. And it is falling out and it is coming together. It's both the disintegration and the reintegration. A new matrix is being formed, a matrix that serves humanity in a way that the old matrix didn't. The old matrix served humanity only in telling us that we weren't good enough, that we were less than, that there was lack, that we'd never get it right. The old matrix was teaching us all the negative side. Well, it's time for the balance. It's time for the resolution. It's time for the anti-adromia, for the reverse flow of energy. And we're beginning to experience that. Tomorrow, Uranus goes into retrograde, and it'll be there from the 13th of July till the 13th of December, as I shared from my good friend Salvador Russo, the astrologer friend of mine. I'm expecting good things to break forth upon our scene and upon the experience that we are having collectively. I'm expecting justice to start actually being done. It may not look like much yet, but yet if you look, there are things happening. There are things going on. With the Lieber scandal and everything else, there are things that were unthinkable even last year, but they're not unthinkable anymore. People are becoming aware. So I want to encourage you with all of my heart to keep the faith, to not lose hope, no matter how dark it seems. When any one of us gets the resolution, it's resolution for everybody. I've been standing in the gap the best I can, and dealing with sometimes problems that seem insurmountable. And I'm not just doing it for me. I realize that I'm doing it for everyone. But we all have to learn it individually as well. In whatever way Spirit brings that home to us. Anyway, I want to leave you with some words of hope that things really are changing for the good. Please, please go inside and meditate and think on these things. Please find the peace that's within you, even on the roller coaster ride where the peace seems to be challenged so often. Go inside and feel and hear that still small voice. Thank you for listening. Namaste.